All right, so let me please introduce David. David Herrera is the Coordinator for Forests 2020 at Colombia's Institute of Hydrology, Meteorology and Environmental Studies, IDEAM. He is a specialist in the use and development of satellite digital tools, and we'll talk about the Colombian Data Cube and its benefits. And the Colombian Data Cube is based on the same technology that Digital Earth Australia and Digital Earth Africa are based on. So thank you, David. Over to you.
Gracias, Stuart. ¿Pueden ver mi presentación? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Bueno, entonces voy a empezar a relatar mi presentación. Como lo dijo Stuart, va a ser en español. Bueno, yo soy un profesional que trabaja en el Instituto de Meteorología, Hidrología y Estudios Ambientales, IDEAM, de Colombia. Trabajo en un área que se llama el cubo de datos de imágenes de satélite.
I work in an area of Satellite Images for Colombia Institute. It's an initiative that had the support of several entities, several institutions, and you can see them on screen. The Forest 2020 project is an important project. I was coordinating the project until the beginning of this year. Forest 2020 worked with financing from the United Kingdom, and with these resources, it was possible to create this platform, the Data Cube, which is based in the Open Data Cube of Australia. At the institution where I work, IDEAM, it was part of the Ministry of the Environment of Colombia. And the maximum support that we receive is from this ministry. How has the cube evolved? It started in 2015. It is a small data cube. It's not a very extensive data cube, and it doesn't have a very powerful infrastructure, but we have managed to carry out several tests, and it has evolved over time. In 2015, it started working. We had 1,500 scenes and then we went to 2.0 version in 2016. We had 18,000 images. 2017, optimization of processes, new algorithms were produced. And then in 2018, the Data Cube was made public. Initially, it was private, just for the institution, for our institution, but then it was possible to open it up to the public so that government enterprises in the environmental field could use this data cube. In 2018, we updated the Open Data Cube, the 3.0. We had 13 algorithms. We carried out tests of Amazon Web Services, but these were only tests. The Data Cube has its own infrastructure now, its own service that throughout the organization. In 2020, publication of new algorithms, we carry out environmental studies, environmental tests, we strengthen capacities, training, and with the different organizations that were using the Data Cube, and training through a university of almost 3 months, so that these companies would know how this functions, how the Data Cube functions, for what they can use it for, and how they can use it in the decision-making processes. We invited entities and companies of the environmental sector of Colombia, to the control organizations that have control over corruption in these institutions, and to the police in Colombia. They were trained in the use of the Data Cube to apply this knowledge in their respective organizations. In 2021, we continued knowledge strengthening, and we started some tests with different applications. So the cube is operational, but the entity is not yet making decisions from the Data Cube. We're carrying out testing studies so that when these tests are complete, the entity can make decisions based on the results obtained through this platform, Data Cube. The platform has Landsat Images mainly. Landsat 5, Landsat 7, and Landsat 8 of the past 21 years. As I previously mentioned, it's a small data cube, and we don't have a very robust capacity, but we do have information of Pulsar 2 as well that functions together with Landsat for the implementation of some algorithms. The algorithms which we have are snow indices, water indices, vegetation indices, burn indices, and water classification, or classifiers, water classifiers, including water observation from space, WOFS algorithm. We have forest classification, and it's very important for our organization to report on the forested areas, non-forested areas. And from this report, the country makes decisions with regards to deforestation rates. Unfortunately, Colombia has a huge deforestation problem year after year, and this is reported to the competent authorities of government so they take appropriate action. In the data cube, we input this information. We don't have the report, don't generate the report as yet, but one of the algorithms that we do have available allows us to do this, but we don't publish the reports obtained through the data cube. Another algorithm for an unsupervised classification. We have several projects on this, and the supervised classification as well, where we have algorithms like random forest, voting ensemble, bagging ensemble, burn scars model, which is a scars model, and a change detection model. Through these algorithms, we carry out different tests in our platform. We have used this for earth coverage, land cover classifications. So we have the temporal composite of mediums, TCM, to classify and to train the algorithm, the machine learning algorithms, of course. We have used semi-automatic methods to generate the map of Earth, classification of Earth cover. Initially, we used a legend from the IPCC, National Panel on Climate Change, but this year we used a Europe base, which is Corindon cover. When this was created in Europe, it was a methodology of visual interpretation, where an interpreter with a lot of experience would take a satellite image and would start to underline the covers that he saw. So that was a hybrid methodology where we used algorithm, the machine learning algorithms, the data cube, and they started to train to generate some covers that the machine could obtain. Unfortunately, not all Earth covers could be obtained through these algorithms. And Colombia has a topography that's quite complex and coverages that are heterogeneous. So therefore, it's very difficult with a machine learning algorithm to develop a map, a coverage map of throughout the country and all types of covers. So we had a semi-automatic method, a hybrid semi-automatic method, and we carry out the appropriate tests, where the data cube through machine learning can take some classifications, very general classifications, but not detailed. From detail, we also need visual observations to be able to obtain these. But the tests for now have given good results. So we generate maps, the style of maps. We've also been working with applications for the interpretation of fire scars interpretation. In Colombia, many hectares suffer from forest fires every day, either man-produced or for other causes. So we have to monitor these forest fires. So we're working on the data cube to implement an algorithm that can interpret these scars these fire scars that are left in the earth cover. From different indices, we can start to interpret these scars, these fire scars. The well-known index on the NDVI, Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, has the data cube, the NBR, a normalized burn ratio. So all of these indices will allow us to easily detect the general impact caused by these forest fires. So we have a pre-forest fire and after forest fire and the impact generated by the forest fire. So the entity or the institution for which I work will produce an annual report, well, not an annual report every so often, the forest fires that are in the Colombian landscape. And thus the data cube with its algorithms can do this in an automatic or semi-automatic way, in a much quicker way, so that the institution, the competent institutions of government can make decisions with regards to this issue, emergency services, for example, or organizations that have to evacuate people affected by these forest fires, and they can take the appropriate action to resolve these problems. So here we have the normalized burn ratio, the NBR, pre-forest fire, post-forest fire, and the delta NBR, which allows us to see the impact between what we had previously, what happened post-fire, and the severity of the forest fire in a particular spot due to these forest fires. We're using machine learning algorithms for the classification of these forest covers, these fire scars. And also the combination of indices and assigning these indexes, in this case, the normalized difference vegetation index over different periods, we can also verify the changes that have occurred in the earth cover throughout time. The idea is to use the data cube and the different algorithms to take advantage of all of this information. We're also using the data cube for different studies. An institution will come to us, as university students, for example, to do their practical work of the last semester. And this year, a University of Bogota, Colombia's capital, so that a student could do a practical work experience in an area of air quality through by monitoring the air quality throughout the city of Bogota, and combined with remote sensor data in the data cube, and through simple statistical regressions, could estimate the air quality from the satellite image inputted into the data cube. So the academic sector can also participate in the data cube, and they should know their benefits. They should know that it exists, because unfortunately, the data cube is something very small in Colombia, and the idea is to make it visible, so that people related to research and environmental sector can use it, and so that the government can use it to make decisions. Therefore, we need financing to do all of this. The project Forest 2020 financed the initial project of the data cube, but the financing is now depleted, and we're using government resources, minimum government resources. The idea is to find new resources so that the data cube can be turned into a transversal tool throughout all the areas of the institute, so that they can make decisions through the data provided by the data cube. That's basically what we're doing with the data cube, and we are hoping to evolve this data cube, and it will be useful for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. It's great to see. There are some common threads there between what Omar and David have highlighted. the opportunity for using this technology to monitor illegal clearing activity, in Omar's case for gold mining, in David's case for deforestation and other issues, is clear, and building comprehensive products that are routinely updated across the entire country is the real advantage that this technology gives you, so that it can be updated routinely and regularly, so that our decision makers, be they police, environment departments, or politicians, are getting regular updates to the things that matter to them.